Hello viewers, what if I told you that one man, a brilliant mathematician, a notorious gambler and an escaped murderer, basically invented modern paper money as we know it, and then, almost single-handedly, crashed the entire French economy? Sounds like a movie, right? Well, it's all true. And it happened thanks to a guy named John Law and the infamous Mississippi Bubble. Our story begins in the early 18th century. France is in a bind. King Louis XIV, the Sun King, left behind a glorious legacy and a mountain of debt. We're talking about crippling, suffocating debt. The country desperately needed a financial miracle. Enter John Law. This Scottish polymath was a financial maverick. He believed that the wealth of a nation wasn't just about how much gold and silver it had. He thought, why tie ourselves down to shiny rocks? Let's use paper money. He argued that this paper, backed by the nation's credit and productivity, could stimulate trade and make everyone richer. Revolutionary stuff for the time. Law had tried to pitch his ideas to various European powers, but they all scoffed. Paper money? Nonsense. But after a lifetime of gambling, fleeing a murder charge, and honing his theories, he finally found a receptive ear. Philippe II, the Duke of Orleans, regent of France, who was desperate to fix France's finances. The year is 1716. Law convinces the regent to let him open the Banque Générale, France's first private bank to issue paper money. And guess what? It worked. The economy stabilized, trade picked up, and suddenly, John Law was the toast of Paris. He was like the rock star of finance. But Law wasn't done. He had a grander vision. He looked across the Atlantic to France's massive, largely undeveloped territory, Louisiana. In 1717, he creates the Compagnie d'Occident, or the Mississippi Company. This company gets a monopoly on all trade with Louisiana. And here's the kicker. You can buy shares in this company using those old, worthless government bonds France was drowning in. Brilliant, right? It reduced the national debt and created a hot new investment. Law starts hyping Louisiana like crazy. He paints pictures of untold riches, gold, silver, furs, tobacco. Imagine the marketing budget for this. He even orchestrated parades through Paris, showcasing Native Americans and exotic goods to make people believe in the fantasy. The public goes absolutely wild. Share prices skyrocket. Everyone from dukes to chambermaids wants a piece of the Mississippi pie. People are literally getting rich overnight. The word millionaire is said to have been invented during this time. Paris becomes a carnival of wealth. But here's the problem. The actual profits from Louisiana, they were minuscule. The company's value was not based on real wealth, but on pure speculation. It was a classic financial bubble, inflated by hype and unsustainable growth. In 1720, Law merges his bank with the company and becomes the Controller General of Finances. He's at the absolute peak and right on the edge of the abyss. Then, the first cracks appear. Some savvy investors start selling their shares and demanding gold. Confidence wavers. People realize there isn't enough gold in France to back all that paper money and those inflated shares. Panic sets in. A run on the bank begins. The bubble bursts with a deafening pop. The value of shares collapses. The paper money becomes worthless. France is plunged into economic chaos, bankruptcy, and utter devastation. Law, once the nation's hero, is now its most hated villain. He flees France in December 1720, escaping with little more than his life. He dies a relatively poor man in Venice just a few years later, a gambler once more. So, what's the legacy of John Law? On one hand, he caused one of history's most spectacular financial crashes, leaving France in ruins and creating a deep distrust of paper money that lasted for generations. But on the other hand, he was a visionary. He understood the power of credit, the potential of a central bank, and the idea that money is more than just metal, it's a belief system. Many of his ideas, refined and regulated, form the bedrock of our modern financial systems. He just perhaps rolled them out a little too fast, a little too enthusiastically, and with a little too much unchecked speculation. The story of John Law and the Mississippi Bubble is a powerful reminder. It shows us how quickly fortunes can be made and lost, the seductive power of hype, and the delicate balance between innovation and catastrophe in the world of finance. It also shows us that sometimes the most brilliant minds can create the biggest messes. What do you think? Was John Law a genius, a charlatan, or both? Let me know in the comments below. If you found this dive into financial history fascinating, hit that like button, subscribe for more stories like this, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next video.